Hello. So I have a live stream tomorrow I'm just prepping for, so feel free to hang out with me and research, drop any questions you have. I'm Tracy Lenz, I'm a petroleum engineer, and welcome. Yeah, it's late at night, so I'm just researching. So feel free to research with me, ask questions, do the dishes, do your own homework, do your own reading. Whatever, it's just nice to have some company for this stuff. Okay, I have a list of questions that I'll be prepping for. So I'll be trying to make a list of like getting ready for that. I'm trying to add questions to this as I think of it too. I am testing out multi-streaming. So hello, Facebook, I believe. Hello Twitch for the first time, other than a test stream we did. And hello YouTube vertical. So we'll see what that, you might be randomly finding me today. So welcome, hi, I'm Tracy. I'm an engineer. I'm not political. I'm just trying to figure out what this means for oil and gas. So yeah, I'm not sure actually who this will put us in front of. We'll see. I can also change up the music a little bit. It's like slow to transition. I'm listening to Stream Beats by Harris Heller. It's one of those like free to distribute type of music things. So maybe not the top 40, but it's probably what I'd be listening to anyway. Oh, we also have the crystal cam. Let's see if I can get the crystal cam going. Oh, I don't have the crystal cam on this view. I should add it. There. So I know I had a lot of questions on this, so that's why there's so many questions here. A lot of this I already have some feeling on. I just want to get more clarity before tomorrow. And I have been researching it since it started. But, you know, it's an ongoing thing. It's still going to be a lot of questions after one simple Q&A session, so. So this is the EIA website. They have this is the U.S. Energy Information Admin. I'm curious what they you know, with all this, you have to be a little bit, you have to acknowledge where the source is. Hello, Banana and Silveria. I feel like y'all randomly found this. Now you're confused. You're welcome. Oh, great. Hey, Fabian. It affected the equity market on stocks today, though. Also, new year, new hair. Well, okay, let's address that first. This is my natural hair, and it will probably be straight for tomorrow because, you know, professional hair. This is my natural curls. I just don't know what to do with them half the time. Okay, currently has 1% of the world's oil production. Yeah, that seems to be the numbers I was seeing, which really isn't. I mean, it's big, but like it had already. Okay, that's partly what I want to like look into a little more. Is I heard about the oil and gas. Hey Manor. That the U.S. companies that are there would be taking over, and that was just like a random news story I saw. So I wanted to look into that a little more, like who would actually be taking it over. Was there any actual disruption, or was it just are these just headlines, or is this actually a disruption? I've never actually tried to research on a live stream, but I'm kind of seeing how it goes. As a low, hopefully a low stress way to like test the waters of what questions there might be. I know this is a hot topic. I'm trying to treat it very gently and also carefully. But also there's a lot of questions, and I'd rather people not be getting their answers, unlike TikTok. So, you know, might as well get them on YouTube and Twitch, right? Just, you know what I mean. Okay, so I was looking for, where is imports? Still having that thing where if you're live streaming or presenting, you suddenly have this blindness to be able to read anything. So I'm trying to get over that. It usually takes me about 10 minutes to get used to not like thinking about the streaming part of it and actually being able to read again. I'm curious what actually is happening there psychologically. If I'm be curious what actually is happening. So net imports. Okay. Net imports, we have products. So I was kind of curious. Okay, so like we know it's a heavier crude that they have, and it's a sour crude. What would it actually be like? So let's say that there were to be more of this type of crude on the market, because, you know, theoretically, like hypothesis would be with different leadership, whatever that is, you'd be able to better manage those resources, ideally. So if there were better management and you could get more of that oil on the market, what markets would it affect the most? I'm imagining the goal wouldn't be to reduce the oil on the market. So let's just assume that the new owner or control, I don't even know what words to use with this, really. Let's say that the new person put more of that reserves on the market. Yeah, great question. So what it's already produced from I see one of the things I need to figure out is how to pronounce the Orinoco belt. Are the remaining ships of the Shadow Fleet still in the water? Most of this goes unreported. Tanker trackers is a great source. Ooh, okay. I will open that up. I found a neat animation of ship map. Now it's from 2012 though, but it was a really cool visualization of where the tankers were going and colored by what they were shipping. And I think it's trying to show where the carbon was being used. But yeah, so this is the animation, and they have the colors of the ship type, where red is the red are the tankers, and green is bulk gas. Doesn't say what type of gas. I'm guessing liquefied natural gas. But if you put it on routes, you can see the routes themselves. And again, this is from 2012, I believe. And we've had that flip of how much we're importing versus exporting since then. Because that was about 4 years into the shale. So, I mean, it was probably already starting to affect where we were. This is probably pretty close to, but 2012 was a different regime, Venezuela. So, yeah, I was pulling up some of these things, and it's kind of interesting, even with the older data, to show the ships. See, surely someone has to have created a modern. Can't believe that's 14 years ago at this point, but okay, tanker trackers. Yes, I'm human. That probably wasn't it. I mean, maybe it is. It probably actually no. Okay, it looks like it is. Fleets. Sanctions. Satellite. Taken vessels. Well, how much is a permission? Oil revenue goes like this. Venezuela contracts the Shadow Fleet to ship its oil to the teapot refineries in Shan. The infamous Skipper vessel is an example of it. Okay. I'll probably be researching this quite late tonight, honestly. I'm gonna put some notes to follow up on, because one other thing is, I've seen it. I think this is probably true for any subject where if you know a lot about it, you can see the things that aren't true that are going out there. And then you assume that other times, it's just affecting your own world. It's not affecting other worlds. And so you tend to trust things that aren't in your domain and not trust things that are in your domain because you know what to question more. I definitely see that with oil and gas, and I'm trying to put those, that same light on every headline. I mean, I have been for the last 4 or 5 years, right? It's been pretty crazy the last, well, at least 4 or 5 years, news headline wise. But let's see. Yeah, I don't have access to a whole lot here. But one of the interesting stats was, and I'd heard this quite a bit, was how much in reserves Venezuela had, being the number one holder of reserves. And I saw, I'm not actually on X. Okay, I technically have an X account, but not like a frequent user. This is something that I heard of several countries where we're guessing how much in reserves they have, and just knowing what it takes to come up with the reserves for a US oil field, I'd be really surprised if the same, even remotely close to apples were anywhere happening for at least half the countries on like the typical list of most reserves. And I feel like it's just like a big flex. Like it's told us we had to do it for prestige. And now we'd look bad if we lowered it. Like I was like, yeah, I mean, true. But I was kind of questioning it too. I don't doubt it. Like it's a pretty big field. But like Canada even has I don't know. I saw one, I think it was BBC, interesting timed video of like 3 weeks ago. They were talking about why the US might be paying attention to Venezuela and things that we kind of already knew where, well, most of us knew about where the mix of the refineries, what we need here in the US is different. Some of the numbers they were showing for like average API numbers, like, and like what each one meant, I was questioning a little bit, but the general gist of it being like a heavy oil. Okay, Canada's heavier than Venezuela in terms of viscosity. Oh yeah, with tertiary recovery to produce heavy oil. I mean, I would almost think even more of it might remain in place than 80% even. I mean, tertiary being the third like layer, but I don't actually know a whole lot about how much is already been done. I imagine. Okay, so that's the other thing is there's probably more like the in place number is what they're reporting, which if we did in place for these shale reserves, it'd be enormous because we're only recovering like what 5 or 10% max of these shale reserves. So if you take that and convert it to, you know, how much we're producing, and imagine that, yeah, like ours is probably, if we were to do apples to apples with, you know, what they're potentially calling a reserve. What was I doing? To remember what I'm doing now. Okay, I was like, oh, USGS. 2009. Well, I do like USGS. So I'm trying to find news sources that aren't like CNN or Fox or, you know. Okay, so USGS is even saying 513 billion barrels. So that was, I think, 300 or so is the reserves on listing. Okay, I've seen this one before. Go away, AI assistant. I will use AI other places. Yeah, this is world's largest recoverable oil accumulations would have been in 2009. So kind of pre most of the shale stuff. Oh, wow. Okay, sorry, I just saw 4 to 14 degree API. Holy cow. That is heavy. Is that average? Ooh, that's low also. Okay, copy this. So I use Zotero to save any research I do. That's how the research gets into our model also. Well, that's how I document stuff. Is it not logged in right now? Of course. Fine. Okay, so we'll put this. I'm making a new folder in my world oil sub collection. I really hope I spell this correctly all the time. Okay, that paper's saved. I always assumed that most of the oil was offshore, actually. Just because it was right on the coast there. I didn't actually look at the location of... Okay, so here's some recovery factor info. Currently known as the technology for recovery of the heavy oil. So right now I'm mostly just kind of verifying that the size is the size. Like it's I mean, I'm not going to be the one to crack the case today, but just, you know, checking up on things. Minimum recovery factor estimated to be 15%. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little, honestly, a little intimidated to take on such a big topic, but, you know, if someone is going to be answering questions, I don't want it to be someone who doesn't know about oil and gas answering the oil and gas questions. So, wish me luck. But I'm pretty good at getting up to speed on when needed. It is the problem of covering the whole US all the time and then now world. But oil is so global. You kind of have to. This is pretty high, right? Recovery factor of 70%, huh? I mean, steam assisted gravity drainage, I've seen that science. That seems really high for that low of API oil, but I'm assuming it's based on a pilot. Maybe it's just like really good sand. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. 20 to 38% porosity. Wow. Gosh, okay. I don't know. I mean, this is feeling kind of more realistic. But this would be like P1. Or, okay, that's using Chevron terminology of minimum, absolute minimum. Combining all this together. Let's see, what are they doing? Okay, so they're using industry typical, not... So Chevron, I learned my statistics from Chevron, which does it opposite most of the industry, where a 1%, like a P1, is your lowest, not the equivalent for the industry would be P99. So 99% chance that it's this or better. So I always have to flip them in my head. So this is like, if we're looking at like a 90% for reserves, yeah, it's good. This is about the ballpark of what we're looking at for most of the things I've been seeing. I wonder what I have a book. It's really good rules of thumb for conventional reserves. Okay, so this is mostly Cretaceous, I guess. Looks like. So since I started with Chevron, I've always had a lot of exposure to the issues that Chevron's been having in Venezuela, but not like directly. I thought actually they got out, but I guess not. All right, fine. We'll check out The Guardian. Oh, this is fun. Okay. I wonder why wasn't most of our oil not that thick? Or like, wasn't 25 or above the normal API? I would have expected most US refineries were built for like around 25 API. Maybe 20, not 16 or 4. Like, why is that? I do like rice stat. Okay, I'm gonna ask why. Here's my my notes over here, by the way. Like, this seems almost like a more likely like it's pure speculation. But I wonder if it's more of a reducing oil to China move more than a securing more oil for us. So at the end of last year, U.S. imports from Venezuela were just 135,000 barrels a day. Okay. So they're just doing A minus B to say that they could readily receive 1 million barrels more. But like nothing, it hasn't been standing still since the 90s. Hi, Alice. Welcome to my surprise live stream. I have my list of questions in case you're joining us. Okay, wonder how, I know that Canada has super heavy oil. What's the average API of Canadian oil? API gravity of import crude US. Percentages of total imported crude oil by API gravity. That sounds helpful. Okay, I'm curious what the trend looks like. So they would fall in this 20% or less. So if shale started around here, I mean, it hasn't really changed since shale started. You would think it would go up since shale started, based on all the conjecture out there. Hey Mom, see, you have your grandkid on camera back there. One of your grandkids. The one that's actually sleeping right now. When it's time to put the other grandkid asleep, I will probably just put it on, like, be right back. Oh, I didn't mean to actually click it. I'll probably do this. I'm just showing you what I'm going to do. Back to here. Okay, so this is percent. I think I want to look at the data itself. Percentages are always hard to. Annual, monthly. We don't need monthly. I guess this is. Is this only showing me percentage? That's weird. I think that my YouTube is showing a different. Is it just showing the starting soon? That's not what it's supposed to be showing. This is partly why I'm doing this tonight also, is to make sure I know how to get my live stream all working. Okay, it should be showing the same thing that's on Twitch. And Twitch is showing regular stuff. Haha, Inception now. Facebook is showing regular stuff. Hey Facebook, how are you? But oh, YouTube is okay. YouTube just wasn't live. I can do computer. I can computer. All right. Okay, we're working. Okay, back to it. Whew, feel better now. Okay, this is really just percentages. I don't want percentages, I want numbers. Okay, keep hunting. Imports by country of origin. So this should back up what that one. Not even on here. Did I miss it? There it is. Okay. Wow, that's not much. Was this the sanctions? Okay. I'm going to save this. Can I do a screen capture? Yeah, I can. Oh, that's thousands of barrels. Okay. It's like, that's way less than 125,000. This is... Okay, let me change my brain. Aha, this is the number they referenced. July. That's not the end of the year. But I see, they picked the lowest. 175. Wasn't that the number they referenced? 135,000 barrels. Where'd that number come from? I mean, theoretically, we're probably referencing these numbers. Are those out yet? I mean, I would say we're probably averaging something close to like 500,000. No, 5 million. That's almost 2 straight years of 5 million barrels a day. And before that, we were running around 19,000, so 19 million. Looks like 19 million barrels is probably more, maybe 20 million. We'll make it an even 20 million barrels. That's a lot. Okay, so I'm making it. Okay, we'll go ahead and round up to like 20, 24 million. That's not 135,000. Oh, no, this is per month. That's why I was like, that doesn't seem... Boy. Okay, so that's total thousands of barrels. So what's 20 million divided by 30.4? So 657,000 barrels a day. So not that many per day. That many per month. And then that's about 657,000 barrels per day. If I can do math. Let's double check that. 657 times 30.4, 20 million a month. Okay. Oh, I was doing... Welcome to Tracy Does Math. I'll say like 790. Okay. So it looks like the capacity was really more in this time frame, 790,000. So what's 135 times 30.4? Okay, that's 4 million is... Aha, that matches this number. Okay, that's about 135 a day. That makes more sense. Okay. Checks out. Okay. Weekly inputs and utilization. That sounds helpful. Net input of crude. Crude oil input quantities. Crude oil sulfur content and API. What's there? Okay, so our weighted average is more around 34. The low percent sulfur. Okay. Sorry, I lost where API gravity went. Okay, so here's by region. So that makes sense. The Dakotas have some of the heavier oil. What's the next heavier? Pad 5. I forget where Pad 5 is. I'm guessing California. Map of pad districts. That'd probably be good to have. Yeah, Pad 5 is West Coast. Okay, Pad 4 is Montana, Rocky Mountains. Okay. Pad districts. And refining districts. This would be good to have on hand. It's interesting, we have 8 people watching. That's actually more than I expected. Well, welcome. I actually have no idea how to know who's on Facebook. Let's see. And we have a couple people hop in and out, considering this is the first time ever being on Facebook. Anyway. Okay. Let me grab these. Throw these into Zotero. Do refining. Nope, that was the wrong one. Let's see. I downloaded that already? No. Download. Save. Okay, now this is what's going to Zotero. Maybe I'll stop and like 10 minutes or so. Do a little family time, get the kiddo to bed, and then wrap up with more independent study. Okay. Yes, my kid's still awake. Okay, let's see. Has this changed over time? Like, what? Annual. Okay, I'm actually going to download the history so I can color code it better. I feel like this would help show which areas were better suited for it if we were able to see the history of who was processing low API oil. But I was kind of right. I mean, most of these are more in the 20s and 30s, not teens. So I'm still curious, but which ones are? Okay, do this. No, can't see all I'm doing. All right, we are conditional formatting this. Okay, so red is heavier oil, green is lighter oil. So there's definitely been changes over time. What are we seeing? Let's make this smaller. Okay, a little too small. Okay, so this is from 1985 to 2024. Shale kind of started here. And we really stopped importing much after 2019. We'll color that one like a different color. If we remember the previous chart, showing that's about 2019 was when we really stopped importing that much. So 2010 to 2019 might be pretty representative of if that were to come back online or, back to the market. So this time frame here. I mean, maybe East Coast changed. I mean, that would make sense that the East Coast got a lot lighter with the Marcellus. But really, it's not light as I expected it to get. In Appalachia, how is that? How'd that get heavier? Weighted average of crude oil input to refineries. All right, let me look up the districts one more time. Oh, okay. Appalachia 1 is pretty much Canada. Got it. That makes a little more sense, I guess. But still, West Virginia and Pennsylvania is in there. That's like core Marcellus. Maybe I know that there's the main pipe routes going along here. Okay, let's Okay. So who is set up for the lowest gravity? That'd be Minnesota, Wisconsin. So this area, let's go ahead and take a screenshot. And we'll mark it up. Okay, we'll start with back in the 80s, who was the heaviest. Make this a little smaller. Okay, so West Coast, pad 5. You. I mean, really, that makes sense that California has the heaviest because the California oil is also very heavy and viscous, just like, I mean, you know, lower than 20 API. So it doesn't take much to make it on average 25. So then we also have Minnesota, Wisconsin. We'll go ahead and pull in Louisiana Gulf Coast. It's you. East Coast Refinery District. East Coast Refinery. This stuff? Is that all of this? I mean, East Coast Pad 1 is also... Okay, we'll just mark all of it kind of as heavy. And then this looks like the overall US crude oil is 32. Texas, what's Texas inland? 38. Okay. That's pretty high. Interesting. I guess I would have thought it would have been closer to like 35. But there's a lot of, like, you know, I don't know, all conjecture. Like, it's hard to average an entire state. The thing about talking while researching is you get extra thirsty. Okay, so then over time, who's changed? That is interesting. So Gulf Coast, I mean, a 4-degree swing. That's pretty extreme. Pretty much all the Gulf Coast had that kind of swing. You know, I bet this correlation here, where kind of right here at the end of 2019, it suddenly gets about 3 degrees higher. I wonder if that has to do with the Venezuelan oil. Because it's Gulf Coast, that would be the closest shipping channel. So we're probably looking at these two being impacted by Venezuelan supply, we'll call it. I mean, looks like capacity probably is there for West Coast. Minnesota has gotten heavier over time. I imagine that's from an increase in like Canadian oil imports. Okay, so in terms of, so here's percentages, but are like averages. Which one of these volume weighted is the biggest? Let's look. Yes, this is the boring, the boring stuff. So that's why this isn't the mainstream. I'm seeing live reports of the vertical streaming working. So you found the vertical stream, by the way. If you're watching on your TV, this is happening right now. Which I guess you'll find out as soon as you see your text message on... I got a text message, when is this happening? It's happening right now. So if you're watching on your TV, there is a horizontal stream option. So I'm doing both vertical and horizontal. Testing it out, seeing, you know, people have different formats in front of them. So just seeing, you know, if we can reach as many people as possible. I'm seeing the bubbles, and maybe you're seeing right now that. Okay. All right, so let's look up the volumes. So let's go back to refining and processing. Let's look up volumes. Refinery capacity. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Number and capacity. Refinery capacity report. Refinery capacity by individual refinery. Excel, yes please. This is going to be so much info. That's okay. Ooh, this is fun. Ooh. So EIA has a lot of fun information if you dig. Okay. Feeling like a pivot table is at need here. Ooh, it tells you what company. And it tells you product. All right, so let's look at, I'll pivot table this. Okay, what do we want to look for? Product supply company. We'll look for, start with pad. Columns. And maybe what all is in these things? Survey and period. Are these all the same? Yes, so 2025. Quantity. What are the units? Barrels? So we have barrels per stream day and barrels per calendar day. So current year, next year. Okay, I see how this is. Okay. So I probably want to add a supply. Supply and quantity and is this too much? This is probably too much. can also switch up the lights on the wall. Maybe we'll do... I like the snake. Let's see. Should be able to see the snake behind me now. All right, so we're looking at, these are the pads being the districts, the different refining. And with, again, the pads being, so I'm expecting Gulf Coast is probably the one, Gulf Coast and it's at 3, 5, and 1 to probably have the most refining supply. I might not even be looking at the right thing. I don't typically spend a whole lot of time on the downstream side of the oil and gas, which is what this is all considered, is downstream. I'm usually on the upstream side of it, which is the before it gets to the pipeline side. So if I'm not a big fan of this color coding here, let's change this to lowest is nothing, highest is green. Oh, no, I meant to change that for everything. Lowest being nothing and highest, sure, yeah, apply. I need more shading than that. We'll do, oh, I should probably take out the summations. Let's take this off. Oh no, all of my shading went away. All right, fine, we'll do it again. Really? Yeah, get rid of the grand total too. Every single time I have to redo it, really? All right, fine. Well then, okay. That does help Pad 3 stand out more, which, big shocker, Gulf Coast has the highest capacity. Okay. Sorry, I'm like reading these and trying to like digest what this is telling me. Okay, I think I'm going to let's pull up. Okay, what have we learned so far? Average API of Orinoco. Oh, I was going to look up how to pronounce Orinoco. I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume wrong. Okay, so Orinoco? Orinoco. This is just standard Spanish pronunciation. Orinoco. Orinoco. Okay, standard Spanish. Got it. Let's not embarrass myself. Look at the jump over the last 5 days. No, wait. Is that... Anyway. What's the report say? Number and capacity of operable petroleum refineries by PAD. Yeah, I think I need something higher level, although I love the numbers. Refinery receipt of crude oil by method of transportation. Operable production capacity. What's in that? Production capacity of operable petroleum refineries. This doesn't really tell me. I'm not smart enough to understand like what. Genealogy. Working storage capacity. Shell storage capacity. When was the last refinery built? I'm curious now. Oh, wait, I want to come back to that, so I should open a new window. Okay. Well, I'm glad Crystal has stayed in her Crystal Cam location for this entire stream. operable petroleum refineries. Newest refinery in Galveston in 2022. That's much more recent than I expected, actually. Exxon upgraded its Beaumont refinery. Does EIA have data on U.S. oil refineries and their locations? Yes, I bet they do. What types and amounts of energy are produced in each state? Does EIA have data on the type and quality of crude oil? I bet it does. Okay. Menu. How do we calculate products supplied? We'll come back to that. Oh, well, this is a very... Well, duh. It's like, yes, we have it in a table. Go look at the table. Like, thanks. Collins M&M data file have sulfur and API gravity data. I mean, yes. Ooh, more numbers. Reporting period October 25. Crude oil, biodiesel, port state, port pad. Ooh, country name. So this might help tell us what other countries we're getting low gravity oil from, which, I mean, it's going to be Canada, is most of it. I imagine some Mexico oil is also pretty heavy. Okay, so if we do first enable editing and we do, so this is imports. So then I wonder if we were to compare this to, oh, we could compare, I bet they have this for back in 2019 when we were still importing more. Where is the Venezuela oil going right now? So right now it's going to Pascagoula, Philadelphia, Delaware, New Orleans, Freeport, Port Arthur, Corpus Christi. Why don't I know how to say that one? Gramercy? It's Louisiana. That's probably not right because it looks logical. How to pronounce Louisiana places in English. I mean, this is saying, do I trust AI? Gramercy. We'll just go with that. Sure, we'll trust AI for that. Oh, that makes sense, actually. The name Gramercy is an English, I can't even say it, I'm so white. Anglicization of, I'm guessing that's French, chromacier or something. Oh, no, Dutch word. Huh, no. Well, never mind then. Making all sorts of wrong assumptions. Shape of the swamp in the center of the neighborhood. Crooked little swamp. Okay, sorry, that was a tangent. Let's go back to here. And Port Arthur. So this API gravity is averaging 13 API. That lines up with the data from the Orinoco. Although I feel like I'm saying that how I hear when I hear people say like jalapeno. I'm like, no, that's not right. That's not right. Okay, so $13 API gravity, Venezuela. I can't see my keyboard. And that was October 2025. Pretty high sulfur content, which heavy sour oil. So I did see one note that one of the potential reasons that the refineries like the Venezuelan oil is they can get it cheap because it's so bad. Okay, so average sulfur being 3.98, so 4% sulfur. Golly. Okay. gonna put pH in sulfur. And most of these are pad 3 with just a couple in pad 1. Makes sense. Okay, so these are also make sense. Chevron going to their Pascagoula. Yeah, that's one of their majors. Okay, so volume wise, quantity. I don't know why I can't see things without it being colored. Okay. That must be somewhere close to like how much a ship can hold, right? That's, I'm guessing, why the quantity kind of looks about the same. Okay. So I was momentarily thinking of, I had my mom brain on for a second, trying to think of like bedtime stuff I need to be getting ready for the kiddo. I will say, once I got used to like live streaming, it's almost a little helpful to talk out loud, like to force myself to talk out loud while I'm studying, I could say. Kind of helps keep me on topic. Okay, so this was... Okay, so this must be thousands of barrels. So this is the 4 million barrels for October. So this was the 135,000 barrels a day that was referenced. So this lines up with this number. So then most of that was going to, looks like, CVX Pascagoula. I mean, 25% of that is Pascagoula. But also this is the lower number. I wonder if we can find the number. Okay, sorry. Before I get off of this, I want to see what other refineries are taking this low of oil. So it makes sense that Chevron has that low of, because they have such a presence. So Valero, Premcor, Phillips 66. Phillips 66, that's a Chevron company, right? That's still that. Paulsboro. Okay, I was like, I've never heard of that. Okay, that's a East Coast. Well, I guess I should write it down. Paulsboro. Nope, that's not. Paulsboro in Delaware City. Sorry, other one that I didn't write down. You are still loved. Okay. So clear this and we'll just look at low API gravities. We'll do under 20s. This is the worst way to do it. Okay, it's fine. There's not that many. Okay, there's more than I thought there were. I should have just said less than 20. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so most of these, Canada, Colombia, Kuwait, Brazil, Port State, North Dakota, Colorado. I think this calls for a pivot table. Alright, we'll give it like 10 more minutes. Hi, Robert Macmedia. You're welcome. Sometimes it's useful to see other people's thought process, so thanks for joining. Okay, so we're going to look at API gravity filter. Hi. Okay, API gravity filter. Oh, I can't do a less than, can I? You know what? We're going to do this. I already have it filtered. So we will do gravity code. We'll call all these low because I already filtered them. I don't really want the zeros in there. I don't think those are true. Okay, zeros, we're going to call those 0. Yeah, this is the boring stuff between trying to figure out what data is actually telling you. I do have Tableau I could throw this into, but you kind of have to know what you're building. Okay, now if I take off all of the filters, I just look at low. Oop, nope. Okay, so number of filters greater than 20. Call this medium high. Okay, this should do it. So now if I just filter to low. Okay, we actually have low. So now refresh this pivot table, grab gravity code. Instead, we'll switch it to low and we'll look for I was about to stop. Bedtime. Country name. Quantity. Largest to smallest. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of confirming what we thought would be Canadian oil. I mean, ends up, that's about what we were importing before. I think I'm gonna have to go. All right. So I'll continue researching. I'm gonna look up what 2019. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. Just make my notes of what I want to look at. So I want to look at the 2019 to do. Look at, I guess I should make this a little bigger for entertainment purposes, right? So this is the things I'm making a note to myself to do before tomorrow's live stream. Look at 2019. Refineries. Importing Venezuela oil. Is it VZ? I mean, that would make sense to me. It's my notes, so it's VZ right now. I imagine that's where the most capacity is going to still be, because that'd be the shortest amount of time since the last time they had oil. And then okay. Canadian oil. Does it have same? I don't think it does. Same sulfur. What heavier oil used for? Can't type right now. I have some other things. Areas. So it almost seems like no particular basin might be affected. It would mostly be other imported oil that would be affected. Areas, well, I guess other than like Bakersfield, any basins, any U.S. basins, which honestly, I mean, yeah, politics aside, that kind of makes sense that no particular U.S. basin is affected that much by this. This would be all other countries, theoretically, because we're importing the heavy oil from other countries right now. Is this a Canada move? Is this a reducing? I can't type. Reducing China import source. Maybe it's just a stabilization move. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of just trying to. That's a little unrelated to my specific, but okay. What else? I have more questions. Do I have any specific? What condition are their fields infrastructure in? From what I understand, pretty bad, but I would like to know this a little more, so I'm going to research this more. No, I want to text only. Oh yeah, I want to look up that stuff a little more, understand if there's any more information as to who's actually controlling what out yet. Do we have any information on prior or how it compares? I don't know if we do. I want to look at, so Smart Her News has they have a podcast out. That was a Venezuelan Voices podcast I want to look at. I want to look more into the Shadow Fleet. more into okay, we'll look more into the teapot refineries. Stuff. Hello, Crystal. You back from that crystal can? It's the end of your airing. I can crystal can be a little bit bigger. What we can do right now? Okay. There. She's much cuter than I am. All right. We want to look at current market impacts. We do have some early impacts we could be looking at. I didn't look at many today because I figured by tomorrow we'd have more. I mean, really, it's kind of looking like neither, but I'll look into that a little more. I'm trying to look a little more into gasoline prices. I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions I don't have answers to. We're just going to have to be okay with that. Look, question mark. I do want to look a little more. I've had this question before, like, what does it take to change? What does it actually change to change the refinery process? So I want to look at that and like actually have an answer. I wonder what potential repercussions to U.S. Like if there was a global retaliation, how would that? Because, I mean, it's very mixed right now. And honestly, anything could happen these days. So, without speculating, I'd like to look into what would happen if we didn't have specific supplies. Would that be interesting if like suddenly we found out that Canada wasn't going to supply us with oil anymore because of something that was happening, and then like this was meant to replace that supply? I mean, theoretically, it's not related to oil at all. It's not related to oil at all. I'm just saying, like, it'd be interesting. How Venezuela oil compares to Russian oil. Double auto. Okay. Because I feel like that's kind of like the other bigger sources, right? Okay, well that is that's all for tonight. I think that's all for live streaming tonight. I'll be doing more, but just like on my laptop and later. So thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me and my my crazy hair. And we have Crystal on her Crystal Cam. We'll be back tomorrow to cover kind of like what I found in a more like put together format of a live Q&A. We'll start with a overview of like what I learned and a like here's the background, here's big questions, here's what questions I would have, and then we'll go into how does this affect the oil and gas mineral owner? How does it affect the U.S. market? Short term, long term, if you're looking at it from an investment side, if you're looking at it from a you're just a royalty owner, like will it affect your royalty checks? How will it affect your royalty checks? Are there ways that you can prepare? None of it's going to be financial advice, but this will just be my take on it as a petroleum engineer looking at the U.S. market. So with that, if you're here, hi, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. So noon Central Time is when our live stream is going to be. So it looks like, I think, knock on wood, things are working. So hopefully they still work tomorrow. So have a great evening, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Thanks, Wisdom Seeker. You'll get to end with Crystal Cam. It wasn't office hours, so I'll take that logo. Oh, you're just getting cuter, Crystal Cam. She's too close to it now. Bye.